All those on Team Tank, you scored another point this weekend as yet again a young top 5 talent shows the Flames what they could have in just a few seasons.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Flames, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Another top pick shows out, and Team Tank has just added another point in their quest to see the Flames get a top 5 talent. We'll have our Anaheim and Calgary recap as that game happened on Sunday, what went wrong and what went right in the overtime loss to the Red Hot Ducks. And then we'll have our official opponent jersey power rankings as we do every single Monday on this here podcast, Locked On Flames. My name is Ryan GM, a lifelong play-by-play broadcaster and decades-long Flames fan. When Peter Marr was the soundtrack, the radio voice as I enjoyed the Calgary 04 Stanley Cup playoff run. And wow, I'm telling you what, rookie Beckett Sennecke, what a show he put on Sunday as Calgary loses to the Anaheim Ducks. It was not even close the way that this game showed how good talent can be in pushing you towards your goals. The score was close. It was overtime, and Calgary is able to salvage a point. But if you're looking at trying to add more fuel to the fire that is just pleading with Calgary to finish the trades that they started now that Rasmus Andersson is with Vegas and possibly Blake Coleman and Nazem Kadri on the way out, the Flames fans that are pleading for Craig Conroy to go this direction had another reason behind their quest, and that is because Sennecke goes for his first NHL hat trick, the 3rd overall pick from the 2024 draft. At least in the 6 weeks or so that I've been the host of Locked On Flames, the second top 5 talent from the 2024 draft, the other being Macklin Celebrina, that has put on a show for the teams that drafted them against the Calgary Flames. 18 now for the season, 41 points overall for Sennecke, and you have to wonder if this is another spotlight on where Calgary needs to go for them to be able to have a chance at turning this thing around sooner than later, especially when you look at a couple of seasons ahead down the road with Scotia Place opening up in Calgary. You have Ivan Demidov, who is right now at 43 points. So Sennecke second in scoring behind the Montreal #5 pick from the 2024 class. And it is getting noticed as our friends over at Locked On NHL with the game night episode talked about after Sunday's victory for the Ducks over the Flames.
The Ducks have followed up a 9-game losing skid with now a 7-game winning streak as they win a thriller in Calgary over the Flames, 4-3 in overtime, and they do it behind maybe the rookie of the year. People that don't keep track of things out west need to know the name Beckett Sennecke. He has a hat trick in this one, 16, 17, and 18 goals on the year, overtime game winner as well. He is 2 points back of Ivan Demidov for the rookie points lead, and he leads all rookie goal scorers now with those 18 goals. So he is a young, exciting player. Maybe some of the rest of the country doesn't know about playing those late games out on the West Coast, but you need to know about Beckett Sennecke. He's a very, very good young player. And the Ducks right now, they're just 1 point back of the Oilers for second in the Pacific Division.
That's Eddie and Mike on NHL Game Night on our Locked On NHL channel. And you being out west, likely as a fan of the Calgary Flames and being someone who's interested in the Pacific Division, you might be more familiar with some of the names that we're seeing lighted up. I mean, even looking at how much of this talent is the Western Conference, you break down exactly how good the teams from the top 5 of the 2024 NHL draft are having it right now. The top 4 picks, 4 out of the top 5, I should say, as Caden Lindstrom seems like hasn't played yet, the number 4 pick from that 2024 class. But you look at Celebrini, you look at Sennecke, and you look at Demidov with Chicago's, and this is my first stab at this one, so forgive me, Artem Levshonov. I'm going to butcher that one. But you're looking at combined between those four players, 57 goals, 122 assists, and they've all played between 50 and 52 games so far this season. And Team Tank, I'm talking directly to you because I'm the guy who has such a hard time letting a team go toward the bottom of the standings, even if it's for all of the right reasons. I've mentioned I'm a decades-long Flames fan. I am a lifelong Denver Broncos fan. And from the stretch of winning Super Bowl 50 until our quest to make Super Bowl 60 ended on Sunday, between the time Sean Payton and Bo Nix started to help the Broncos turn around, there was always chatter of, well, we're not going to make the playoffs. Might as well lose as many games as possible. I have never been able to subscribe to that theory. So I'm not going to be part of Team Tank. But logically, I've understood Team Tank's stance, even the term ethical tank that gets bounced around Reddit, and the idea that you want a team to be competitive, you want the games to be entertaining, but ultimately you want to score as few points as possible. That didn't even happen on Sunday against Anaheim, with Calgary getting a point in overtime. But all of this to say, it is showing that Calgary could have a little bit of a dynamite blast to what could be a slower rebuild, a slower pace to this rebuild that maybe Calgary wants to go about, whether that's a Craig Conroy decision, whether that's ownership. But they have so much of that talent kind of accumulated already that could help them turn things around slower. But this would be a spark plug in that kind of scenario. I also think when you get teams with younger talent, you oftentimes attract veteran players who have a lot to give them. And that turns our attention to Rasmus Andersson, who netted 21 minutes of ice time, was +1, 3 shots blocked. And he was teamed up with former teammate Noah Hannafin with an assist for the Vegas Golden Knights. And he said, I'm super grateful for everything that the Flames and the people in Calgary did for me. I loved every second I was there. At the same time, it was time, and I couldn't be happier to be here. You look at this lineup, and this is a real contender, and that's what I wanted. That's Rasmus Andersson to NHL.com. And of all the quality that he brings, he's second among defensemen with 12 high-danger shots on goal. He has 4 long-range goals this season, which is tied for 4th among defensemen, and high-danger goals at 3, which is 3rd among blue liners. So that's the kind of guy that you get attracted to your team when you have really elite talent like what Calgary might be able to attract in the vein of Beckett Sennecke. So for Team Tank, I'm looking at you. I acknowledge that you earned a point on Sunday's result because of how good one of those top 5 picks were from the 2024 NHL draft. What exactly happened between the Ducks and the Flames? We'll have a quick recap of Sunday's game, what went wrong in the loss for the Calgary Flames, and what are some things that went right. We'll do that next as this episode of Locked On Flames continues. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It is so amazing when I found out certain subscriptions that I wasn't aware I was still paying for, things that maybe my spouse had signed up for that we couldn't get canceled, or something I put on an old iPhone long time ago. Rocket Money helps me figure out exactly what I've forgotten about. It saves me money, and I love how it tracks subscriptions, lets me cancel them right in the app with just a few taps. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/locked-on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. rocketmoney.com/locked-on. Thank you so much for making Locked On Flames your first listen every day. We appreciate it so much that we want to see you in our Everydayer Club, which is where, if you never miss a show, it is built for you. You can get an ad-free version of Locked On Flames compatible with your favorite podcast player like Apple Podcasts or one that maybe you download onto your phone. And we give you an invite to our members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server. So please check it out. lockedonflames.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. Calgary Flames lose to the Anaheim Ducks. It was a pretty disappointing result, all things considered, for Calgary on Sunday at Scotiabank Saddledome. They get 35 shots. Anaheim has 21, but the Ducks end up getting the victory in overtime. Calgary gets a point, and Anaheim gets 2. And every time that there's a result where Calgary is on the losing side, we start with what went wrong. First and foremost, you kind of ran into a pretty hot Anaheim team. They've been very good. Right now, their winning streak ticks up. They had, going into the game against Calgary, held opponents to just 10 goals during that win streak. So given the fact that Calgary ends up putting up 3 in a game where Anaheim had been averaging just under 1.7 goals allowed over the course of that streak, maybe something that feels pretty good. It's pretty good for Calgary to end up scoring more than 1 goal, something they hadn't done in the first 3 games of this now 4-game losing streak. But given the fact that Calgary had that 3-2 lead on the Coronado goal 5 minutes into the third, you had hoped that maybe Calgary would find a way to win. And instead, it's the Ducks that get the victory. They extend their winning streak. And again, kind of looking at numbers going into that matchup, this was the 8th of 10 back-to-backs for Anaheim. They have an 8-5-1 over the record of their back-to-backs so far. So it's been pretty good, all things considered, for Anaheim, a team that's been very up and down in a fairly volatile way, kind of similar to what Calgary's done, but just a point back now of the Oilers. And 80 road goals the Ducks have scored going into that game. So now at 84, which is the most through 27 road games, now 28 in Anaheim history. So pretty impressive for the Ducks in that matchup against the Flames. You have a Calgary result that's on the losing side, and you feel like you could have won that game. Certainly that's some of the takeaways as we get in some audio from NHL Flames on X, because Calgary had a very hot start to that game. They ended up outshooting the Ducks 17-3 in that opening period. And you have a 5-versus-5 scoring chance number of 14-8 in favor of Calgary. It was a tough result considering how good Calgary was in the very beginning of that game to not end up finding a way to get the victory, or certainly close it out without having to go to overtime.
Tonight, way different in regards to how we went to net and the traffic that was in front of them. So that's the way our team has to generate offense for the most part, right? So go there and be hungry and hard around the net front and be willing to do whatever it takes for it to go in. And sometimes they're not always pretty, but it doesn't matter the next day when people look at it in the newspaper or online, I guess now.
Keep pushing in a second. The game would have been different. We let him back in and gave him some life, and then they tied late in the third. So it's a tough one. I thought we played really well for most of the game, but we got to learn from it. And 2 games in a row now where we come out really well in the first and not as good in the second, and it's time to learn from it. And next game, don't do it again.
Michael Backlund, after Ryan Huska, the head coach for the Flames on NHL Flames on X, and you can tell that Michael's kind of getting sick of having to regurgitate a lot of the same stuff game in and game out. But the reaction is accurate. Calgary had their opportunities in the second, didn't take advantage of them, instead allow the first 2 Anaheim goals. So you go into the third, tied up at 2 apiece, and then a goal with about 7 minutes left puts things back to the point where you're headed to overtime, and then the overtime winner that completes the hat trick for Anaheim. Got to be disappointing, certainly for Calgary, especially because they had done so many things so well in that matchup. Even Michael Backlund playing well, winning the puck in faceoff, certainly, but Calgary not able to get the win. As far as what went right, it was nice to see Jonathan Huberdeau end a streak of 10 games without a goal. It's just far too many, as we know. but it's nice to see him do that. It's also cool to see Hunter Brzustewicz get his first NHL goal. Brzustewicz ends up getting that goal in, and you have a whole bunch of early career Flames that are getting those goals. But, considering the fact that Hunter has played so many games now with the big club this season, has probably been the most consistent first-year player that comes to mind. It's nice to see him get on the scoreboard, as he's already logged now 17 games so far in his second career point with the goal that he was able to put in. You have Brew talking about the coolness, scoring his first NHL goal, alongside with audio from Ryan Huska and Adam Klapka from NHL Flames on X.
It's been a little bit now I've been called up, and it feels really good. It really does. Sucks that we couldn't come out with the win with it, but it felt good in the moment. He picked me up like I was his kid or something. This guy just, I don't even know what happened, really. He just picked me up and twirled me around like I was like a little string bean out there.
However it goes in, he was trying to make a pass on that through the seam, but it's his first NHL goal. It's pretty cool for him.
It's special, when you see him like, I played with him his first AHL game and first NHL game, and see him score his first goal and be on the ice with him. It's something, to see like he's getting better every game and every day. It's awesome, and he's awesome, like kind of like kid and awesome hockey player. I can wait to see him in the future.
That was great audio, especially getting lifted up. You have Klapka talking at the very end of that, and so it is cool. You have the first career goal out of anyone in the Flames lineup this year, with Brzustewicz getting that one for Calgary and putting it in with about 8 minutes left, or 8 minutes into rather the first period. Pretty good stuff there. Shout out to Mackenzie Weegar, picked up 5 blocks. That was a game high in the matchup with the Capitals on Friday. So he's now at 618 going into the matchup on Sunday against Anaheim, bringing it up because it's the 6th most among all NHL players over the span back to the 2022-23 season, which is when he joined Calgary. So I thought that was a fun game note to share with you as well. 4 different games to rate the look of the opposing team, and all of them are road jerseys that we'll examine in our official opponent jersey power rankings that we do every single Monday, and we bring that to you next on this edition of Locked On Flames. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. Instead of struggling to get your job post seen, Indeed sponsored job helps you list your have your listing stand out and reach your quality candidates faster. And sponsored jobs boost your posts to the people who are the best match for the role, and that makes a real difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support this show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Coming up on Tuesday's show, we'll dive deeper into where Calgary's current state of mind is as they have completed 52 games in the 2025-26 schedule. They are approaching that zone where the idea of making the postseason is no longer improbable. It's almost impossible. Certainly not before the Olympic break, but it feels a little bit like that. We'll chat more about how Calgary can approach the rest that they have prior to their Thursday game at the Wild. In the meantime, there were 4 visitors to Scotiabank Saddledome, and while every single result last week was a loss, Calgary now having dropped 4 in a row, It's never a bad reason to rank the aesthetics of our opponents. And that's what we do every Monday with our official opponent jersey power rankings. And we start with the New Jersey Devils. You had Jacob Markstrom and company in on the 19th of January. And this look features one of my favorite logos in sports that has the letter of the team included in the logo. I really, really love the New Jersey Devils logo. I think it's one of the simplest but yet highly creative logos. And the band that they have around their arms is one of those looks that definitely is becoming my favorite when you have all of the colors on the band together. I find myself matriculating away from those looks that have gaps between one color to the next, and New Jersey certainly didn't have that in their matchup. They have the full color shoulders, which is similar to the Anaheim look that we'll have later on in these rankings, but they're a really good color combination. The black complements from the shoulders, the red in the New Jersey logo and the red number. So this is a really clean look, and I think it looks really nice on the ice. So I don't have any A minuses that I've given out yet. My B plus that's kind of set the standard is that San Jose Sharks black alternate jersey with the alternate fin logo, which I really, really think looks good. And all things considered, this being a standard jersey on the road looks good on the ice. It's a pretty killer combination of black and red. I think I'm going to go A minus. I think this is one of my favorite looks so far that the Calgary Flames have seen from one of their opponents. So let me know if you agree. It's my first A little bit too far of a reach. But when it comes to road jerseys, I'm a pretty big fan of this New Jersey Devils look. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins were in these rankings already since I took the hosting seat, but we saw the home look as the game was played in Pittsburgh on the 21st of January. Calgary hosted the Penguins, and they still have the same issue with that really oddly sized, too big, in my opinion, side panel that has the TV numbers on the side. They also go the really wide swath of yellow from the shoulders that are white into the swath of yellow with a black number on the side. And then there's a black band, more white, a little bit of yellow again, and then a full black sleeve to the armhole. And all of that stuff is too disjointed in so many ways for me. As much as I like that Pittsburgh Penguins logo, the cartoony penguins skating on the ice, certainly classic. Numbers pretty standard. It is a pretty base traditional style jersey. I just don't like that panel enough to want to move it farther down. I actually think I like the road unis better than the home version of it because the broad yellow side panel doesn't clash as much in the way that I felt like it did maybe on the black uni. Even the other thing I'm noticing too with the way that I rank the Devils is they don't have any band going down to the torso area. So it's a pretty full white front uni, and I think I'm kind of liking that. So with Pittsburgh, this one is getting a C plus from me. It's a little bit better. I'm going to go full C, especially because that yellow side panel just doesn't speak to me. It's not Pittsburgh's fault. I think it's definitely a me thing for sure. But I ranked the Columbus Blue Jackets unis pretty low last time we did these rankings. It was Washington, the Capitals, who came into Scotiabank Saddledome on Friday, and they have a similar issue that I don't appreciate that the Blue Jackets uni, and that is the lines that extend from basically the armpits all the way across the front of the jersey. Now, the big difference that I noticed on these compared to the Blue Jackets look is there is a broad red stripe that basically sits on the front arms of the jerseys all the way down to the armholes, whereas Columbus's was just more of a thin line. Granted, we were ranking the home blue jerseys for Columbus versus these being road whites for Washington. But I think having that extra color on the front separates it a little bit more, makes it more appealing. It's a very clean front, very similar to the New Jersey Devils. And of course, you have red and white being the primary look of this jersey, even the red numbers on the back. I do like the red number font that they have. It's a little bit less traditional than that of New Jersey. Overall, it's a pretty good look, very clean numbers on the side for the TV numbers. So this one sits definitely higher than the closest thing we've seen to it with the thin stripe that runs all the way from the arm sleeves to they connect basically at the NHL logo at the base of the NHL jerseys. So I'm going to give the Capitals a C on these. I definitely like them better than the Pittsburgh look, which is a little bit surprising to me. But you contrast all 4 of these looks that we've seen Calgary host this week, and I definitely am more on board with the last one that we're going to rank versus this Washington Capitals group, and that's the Anaheim Ducks. Opponents walking in with the old duck face mask, the original look that was stemmed from the Mighty Ducks Disney movies. And while they're going to lose points for the white gap between the striping that's up by the elbows, I don't mind the long orange sleeve forearm that gets to the end of the jerseys. Those look pretty okay. But having the gap basically goes black, white, gold is how I'm guessing. They probably have like a pewter or some sort of labeled version of what that color is, and then the rest of it being orange. I don't appreciate it as much. I like the fact that it mirrors as closely as possible the torso area. They have the same pattern to them, so there's a little bit of symmetry that was attempted there. But the shoulders also look pretty clean, and I'm beginning to notice that I'm becoming more of a fan of the full shoulders if you're going to have a little bit of a gap between what's on the shoulders and then the primary jersey color. I'm definitely thinking I like that a little bit more. The change to orange is always appreciated as a fan of a team that dons orange in the Denver Broncos, but in this case, it's a little bit too peach. I don't love that color of orange. Granted, the fact that Anaheim can own it is pretty cool. And then you have the jersey numbers are fine. I think that loses them a few points. I like the traditional look a little bit more of those New Jersey unis. So contrasting it to where we're landing on these 4 that we rated, I gave the A- to the New Jersey Devils. I went C- on those Pittsburgh Penguins road unis and a full C on the Capitals. I'm just going to settle in the Anaheim Ducks right at about a B- because I think there's still some room to improve. And I'll have to go back and fully chart these official rankings because I can't remember if I gave that San Jose look a B or a B+, but I'm pretty sure it was the latter. And I think that kind of tracks. So my intent with this, and definitely got to figure out how to get a like leaderboard set up, is to go the old Top Gear style where you'd slap the lap time of driver A in between all the other drivers that had driven a test lap on their track. If you've never watched that show, they'd always have their celebrity guests do a track lap, and then they would kind of slot them in with these magnetic strips of where the jerseys ranked. I think I'd like to be able to eventually do that long term with the show. For now, I'm kind of going muscle memory and giving you my best take on all of those. But yeah, credit New Jersey. I like that look on the ice. Definitely my best and favorite look of any of the opponents that won the Scotiabank Saddledome over the last week of play. Please vote when we post it on our YouTube channel. If you're not already a YouTube subscriber, we certainly invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for continuing to make Locked On Flames on YouTube, the subscriber number keep going up and to the right towards 700. We definitely need you to join if you haven't already. And of course, thank you for everyone who subscribes and gets the podcast every single day. We cannot do this without you. And if you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is there for you. The Everyday Club is there for you at lockedonflames.supercast.com. You can get the show ad-free with a members-only Discord access as well. Please go to lockedonflames.supercast.com to check it out. And for those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. For those on audio, make your second listen, please. NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL. We'll keep looking at what the Flames have to do to try to find themselves with a top 5 pick in the 2026 NHL Entry Draft. We'll see you again soon for more Locked On Flames. I'm Ryan G. Have the best rest of your day that you can have.